world over, wherever you are, in the different countries, in the different continents, in the different time zones, in the different conditions. First of all, we pray to Almighty that your family, your neighbors, your community, your society, your country, everybody should be safe, everybody should be fine, they should have good health, and they should not have any difficulty, any problems. And God should keep everybody happy and healthy world over. इसी प्रार्थना के साथ आज ग्रीन मॉर्निंग, ग्रीन आफ्टरनून, ग्रीन इवनिंग वर्ल्ड ओवर. My all brothers and sisters world over, wherever they are, right starting from Canada to United States to Latin America to Europe to Central Asia to Middle East to ASEAN to South Asia to India and down people those are watching this particular program in different countries, different continents. We extend you a very warm welcome. Indeed, it's a great pleasure that this evening we have got a very distinguished guest, a scholar whose name recommended all the way from the United States, and she is very kind to accept our invitation, and she is with us. So, as a father, as an elder brother, as a well-wisher, and with blessings, I fold my hands and I extend her a very warm welcome. She is Manjushree Hegde, Assistant Professor at Amrita Darshanam, that is in Coimbatore, and that is in Tamil Nadu in India. So, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to her. And today we have taken the subject Sanskrit, a language of science. And this program is a live telecast on YouTube. Those are watching, it's a great, indeed, hearty welcome. Gratitude that you spared your valuable time. And please do share with others also, your brothers, sisters, friends, neighbors. Let them come on the GS Motivator. And we proceed from here. Couple of slides I share with you. Now, when we are talking about artificial intelligence, augmented reality, Internet of Things, and cloud computing, and future, what all is coming. And recently, when there was a deliberations for 3 days, which were inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, it was conveyed that the algorithms and everything are based on Sanskrit, the science of Sanskrit language. वेदों के ज्ञान की बातचीत करते हैं, जब हम नासा की बातचीत करते हैं तो संस्कृत बहुत सारी जगहों से, हर जगह से ये सुनने को मिलता है कि जो संस्कृत है, this is the most scientific language, this is the most appropriate language. So we will deliberate on that today. So, ladies and gentlemen, International Chamber for Service Industry, our chamber since 1994. I was initially, when I was into the armed forces, and from there to the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and I took responsibility in 1994 because during Ministry of Tourism, Government of India tenure, I used to feel कि बाहर से, abroad से, all our brothers and sisters, when they come to India, they look forward to a platform, they look forward to a place where their hard work, their sincerity, their efforts, their networking, their research, their innovation, their efforts, they should be recognized, they should be appreciated, and somebody should be there. So slowly and gradually, the confluence of non-resident Indians started, and every year we started having a gathering in month of January. And in 2003, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, then Shri late Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, he was kind enough to give a time and to listen to. And he said, it's a great job which is being done. Why not to take it on a little larger scale? And that was the birth, ladies and gentlemen, in 2003 of Bharatiya Parvasi Divas. At present, approximately 30 million brothers and sisters in different countries from different continents. They're doing great job. They're bringing a lot of proud to India. And whenever we talk about India, we always say, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That means the whole world is one family. Excuse me. Heartiest congratulations to Honorable Prime Minister of India, Education Minister of India, and all the stakeholders, those are in education. The new Education Policy 2020, which has been announced on 29th of July, wonderful document. Once it gets implemented, wonders will be done. Right from 25th of March, our chamber, International Chamber for Service Industry, purely on a complimentary basis throughout the day from morning 9 till evening 9, every day, 12 hours, Monday to Sunday. We are having a seamless connectivity world over just to empower the education ecosystem in different countries, wherever they need. We start Australia, Fiji, New Zealand. From there, we go all the way to Mongolia. We go to Russia. We come to Central Asia. We go to Middle East. We go to Latin America. We go to Canada, USA, Europe, and then of course भारत में जितने भी लोग हैं भाई बहन उनके साथ भी. So this chamber from there is giving totally complimentary services at this point of time. Doctors, nurses, paramedical people, they are great warriors, but I must appreciate teachers, educators, counselors, principals, and all the technocrats, they are also great warriors. And we should not be bothering on living skills, we should rather go for life skills. That is something very important. 1994, we brought India's first finishing school, and 36,000 children have got free education without spending single rupee, blended with their jobs, with their employment, with everything. Last 26 years of journey. At my age, at my stage, I think when you start approaching and you start moving with the nature, you have to give more to the society than to take from the society. So for the service industry, this was the vision, and we established not a single rupee being taken from anybody. And that was the birth. We thought that let's give it to universe. At present, only two strategies we have got, two visions we have got, and we are totally focused: youth empowerment and teachers empowerment. And more than youth, it's a teacher empowerment. They need a hand holding because whatever is coming in the new education policy, we have to do a lot for the teachers empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital platform we wish to share with you every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all 6 days in a week, 5 days in a week, we have got every day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, six principals coming together from the schools, and we talk how to empower teachers. What all is to be done every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So complimentary, this is being done, and it's a international telecast. World over, people watch what exactly is happening in India and how the online education and all. Then about 400 million plus people from India, the youth, the teachers, the educators, the counselors, they told, all your programs are in English. Why don't you have one program in Hindi also? So the entire strategy being developed in course, in house, with the governing body of the chamber. And finally, we came out with that 12:30, Monday to Sunday, every day, you have got a complimentary program. क्या चाहता है आज का युवा? आज का युवा क्या सोचता है? And we have got a theme. Every day we have got a different theme. That is Friday, because today was the international conference. So yesterday we had a program, Junoon. What is your passion? और हमारा टाइटल है Nothing is impossible. कुछ भी असंभव नहीं है. Every Friday evening, 5 p.m., we take you to Singapore. Every drop of the water is to be saved. That is something very important. The Honorable State Minister for Water Resources, Government of India, and present Education Minister, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. His daughter, she is doing a great job with us, Arushi Nishank. She is the one who is having Sparsh Ganga, and we are working on water-related projects, water-related education. Why not in our education system, we are teaching children how to save every drop of water. And just now, before this program, every Saturday we bring you complimentary program on Ayurveda for global wellness. We just finished half an hour before, and today we were talking on types of arthritis, prevention and cure. This topic will continue for next 3-4 weekends, Saturdays, because there are different kind of arthritis. So Dr. Saab is going to carry it next. Every Sunday morning, we take you to United States, and the doors of Hollywood, Universal Studio, they open up, And right in front is the Woodbury University, California, and Burbank. And from there comes Professor Satinder Dhiman, who talks to us Vidya se Adhyatam Vidya ki Aur, an integrative series of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and 10 principal Upanishad, where we talk about basically Adi Shankaracharya. And nowadays we are talking on different chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And what is the relevance of that? Nothing to do with the religion. What is the relevance of these epics with today's education ecosystem? Then every Sunday at 3 p.m., like tomorrow morning, 9:30, you will have Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Then tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we will take you to ASEAN, 650 million population. And it was a great learning during this pandemic that King Ashoka, he knew 24 different languages. And when he spread Buddhism, he sent his daughter, his son-in-laws, and everybody spreading. So ASEAN countries, when we talk about, there's a lot of Buddhism, and there's the Indian ethos and philosophy and India's epics, and whatever we talk, there's a Vishnu temple and Angkor Wat when we talk about Cambodia, and then when you look at Bangkok airport, Sagar Manthan, everything taken from that. And then Sunday evening at 5 p.m., we bring you micro, small, and the medium enterprise ministry, because ultimately the children have to get some kind of a job, they have to work. So if you want to start your own startup or any business, you want to be an entrepreneur without spending single rupee, how the funding is being done by micro, small, and medium enterprise. All our focus is that children, and for that matter, anybody, whosoever is interested to share the knowledge and the wisdom and to make this world a better place, how without spending single rupee, you should empower the humanity. Don't forget to join us tomorrow evening. We will have a live telecast that is at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Like today, you have got this special program. Tomorrow, you have got a special program when Modi ji, after becoming the Prime Minister, went for the first time to America. The music which was composed for him. Tomorrow, we have got 2 hours program with Dr. Connects tomorrow evening. That will come live all the way from Houston. That will come from Texas, and we'll be sharing all of us together. And that is going to be arts, appreciation, and music in education. So this is the complete canvas, ladies and gentlemen, what we have got from the chamber, complimentary throughout the week, our humble steps, whatever best we can do for the humanity. During pandemic, we learned from world over, 152 countries, our research scholars, they have sent across to us. The world will get now to B2B is no more business to business. It is back to basics of life, sustainable development, आपका basic भोजन, आपकी health, and आपकी education. 3 things you have to take care of. So whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, ladies and gentlemen, it can achieve. Let's come together. Let's make world a better place for the entire humanity, making education relevant. And here comes our today's distinguished guest. We have got Madam Manjushree Hegde. She is a Sanskrit scholar, and Manjushree Hegde ji, she is currently serving as assistant professor at Amrita Darshanam, that is at Coimbatore International Center for Spiritual Studies in Coimbatore campus. She was a research fellow at Infinity Foundation India. She obtained her master's in Sanskrit in 2016. And Madam Manjushree Hegde is a mechanical engineer who decided to make a crossover to a serious study of Sanskrit and Indian culture. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming and extending a very warm welcome and invitation to Manjushree Hegde to share her wisdom, to share her knowledge, to share her expertise, and whatever she would like to talk to humanity this evening. With these words, Manjushree Hegde.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I'll just share my screen with you.
Sure, please go ahead.
1 minute. Uh, Namaste, everybody. At the outset, I'd like to thank ICSI and Dr. Gulshan Sharma in particular for inviting me to be a part of this very important webinar. It's a wonderful initiative, the need of the hour indeed. And I'm honored, sir, that you asked me to be a part of this. For my part, I thought I'd introduce you to Sanskrit as a language of science. How, as a language, it deals with scientific problems or a scientific problem area, and also how it is used for the expression of scientific statements or truths. So instead of a dry, boring theoretical lecture, I thought I'd use some actual examples from Sanskrit texts to demonstrate, or rather give you a taste of how it works, which may be more meaningful than a very theoretical exploration. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the language, so I'll make it as simple as I can. In the limited time that we have, I thought we could take a closer look at one of the most important Indian sciences, that is grammar, Vyakarana. The foundational text for, sorry, I've missed one.
You can share the full screen, because down below, if you do it, then it will come on the full screen.
The thing is, I'm not able to.
Okay.
See, the foundational text for Vyakarana is Panini's Ashtadhyayi. It is a rule book of 3,900 odd sutras, rules on Sanskrit grammar, which presents a framework for a universal grammar that can be applied to most Indian languages. Yet, it is not a work of grammar in the general sense of the word. Rather, it is a derivational word-generating device that derives an infinite number of correct Sanskrit words through the correct application of rules. It's a complete, maximally concise and theoretically consistent analysis of the grammatical structure of Sanskrit. In Panini's system, a finite set of rules is enough to generate infinite words. The algebraic character of Panini's rules were not appreciated in the West until a similar generative structure was discussed by Chomsky. I'm sure you all know of it. So Paninian system employs several algebraic devices to capture the fundamentals of Sanskrit language in terms of phonology, morphology, syntax. So it uses context-sensitive rules, it uses recursion, sequential rule application, use of technical terms in place of lengthy expressions, use of code representations, meta rules, etc. And interestingly, a computer program has exactly the same features. It is no wonder then that the Ashtadhyayi is often referred to as an algorithm. It literally a machine that consumes phonemes and morphemes and produces words. This is why Gerard Hewitt once commented that Panini should be called as the father of informatics. But I don't want to talk to you about this. I want to show this to you, to demonstrate it to you so you really get the genius of Panini. So I'll use a few sutras from the Ashtadhyayi itself to show this to you. I'll just. So the Ashtadhyayi opens with the Maheshwara Sutras or the Shiva Sutras. The story goes that at the end of his cosmic dance, Lord Shiva, Nataraja, sounded his Damaru 14 times. And the sounds of the language are said to have originated from Nataraja's Damaru. So the 14 beats of the Damaru were captured by Panini into 14 sutras. So they're called as Shiva Sutras. These sutras, the Shiva Sutras, they're simply a rearrangement of the regular alphabets of Sanskrit. Generally, the alphabets of Sanskrit reads A, E, U, so on. And ka, kha, ga, gha, nya, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, so on. Rearranging this, the Shiva Sutras read like this. The first sutra is a, I, un. I, un. This is the first sutra. Second sutra, ril, rik. Third, a, ong. Fourth, I, ouch. Fifth, haya, varat. Land, nyamangananam. Jhabhai, ghadha, dhash. Jabagada, dash. Kha, pha, cha, tha, tha, chatta, tav. Kapai, sha, sha, sar, and hal. 14 sutras contain all the 42 letters of the Sanskrit Varnamala, the 8 vowels, 34 consonants, just arranged differently. Now, what is the use of such an arrangement? Honestly, I cannot quite convey the unimaginable consequences of this simple rearrangement. This simple rearrangement of the alphabets allowed Panini to create the Ashtadhyayi. Without this simple rearrangement, the Ashtadhyayi would not be possible. Alphabets in 1,000 different ways, but he chose this particular sequence. It will take a lifetime to understand why, but I'll try to show you how Panini employs this in his work. He employs this sequence particularly to make pratyaharas. Okay, I'll tell you what pratyaharas are. If you pick a letter from anywhere within this sequence, say kha, the Mahaprana letter kha. Okay, this the 11th sutra, it belongs to the 11th sutra, the first letter of the 11th sutra, kha. Say you pick this letter kha. Then you pick another letter, say ra. That is the end of the 13th sutra, ra. Okay, the first letter of the 11th sutra, the last letter of the 13th sutra, kha and ra. Okay, now first letter kha, last letter ra, kha, ra, khar. Khar becomes what is called as a pratyahara, which means it contains within it all the letters that fall between kha and ra in this sequence. That is kha, pha, cha, ta, tha, cha, ta, ta, ka, pa, sha, sha, sa, all the 13 letters. 13 letters belong within this pratyahara khar. If I say khar, I'm going to be referring to all the 13 letters, not just kha and ra. So if Panini says khar in any of his sutras, he means the 13 letters or alphabets that fall between kha and ra. But by simply saying khar, he is managing to accommodate all the 13 letters by using just 2 letters, kha and ra. Another example of a pratyahara is ach, the first letter of the first sutra, a. First letter of the first sutra is a. If I take this as the first letter and cha as my last letter, cha that belongs to the fourth sutra, the last letter of the fourth sutra, cha. So I have a as my first letter and cha as my last letter. Between a and cha lie all the vowels. All the vowels lie between these two letters in this sequence. So if Panini simply says ach in his sutra, he's going to simply say ach, but he means all the vowels, all of a, to, a, I, u, ril, r, all of it will be contained within this one pratyahara called ach. So he's going to say ach, he will mean all the vowels. Similarly, if he says hal, hal, the first letter is hakara, which is the first letter of the 5th sutra. Ha is the first letter of the 5th sutra. La is the last letter of the 14th sutra. So from first letter of the 5th sutra, la, last letter of the 14th sutra, everything that falls in between is actually all the consonants. So if he says hal, the first letter ha and the last letter la, if he says hal, he is going to refer to all the consonants. So instead of saying consonants, he actually just says hal. Instead of saying vowels, he's going to say ach. So I'll just show you how this is employed in a sutra. Okay, just give me one moment. Okay. See, what you see on the screen is what is called as the Itsanya Prakarana. See, please don't get scared of the names. I'll break it down for you. The only reason I'm doing this is because there are enough lectures online glorifying Sanskrit, but I felt it was not enough. I felt that maybe jumping into the core with both feet would be more interesting, more take-home value. I don't know, I may be wrong, but that's for you to decide. But let's see how this goes. Within the Ashtadhyayi, within the Ashtadhyayi, Panini employs 6 types of sutras. Okay, 6 types of rules. First type of rule, see, all the sutras, see, there's about 3,900 sutras, approximately 4,000 sutras. They can be classified into 6 types, okay, 6 types of sutras. For example, one type of sutra is called Sanya Sutra. Sanya means name, okay, Sanya Sutra. Sanya Sutra means this type of sutra defines technical terms that will be used within the text of the Ashtadhyayi. For example, the very first sutra of the Ashtadhyayi, is Vriddhiradaich. Vriddhihi at aich. At is the dirgha akara. A, this is a, okay, akara, okay. Aich is a pratyahara. I is the first letter, the last letter cha, whatever falls in between this, all the letters included, that is I and au. Only 2 letters are included within this pratyahara. Okay, so a, I and au, 3 letters. A, I, au are going to be called as vriddhi. Vriddhihi at aich, vriddhiradaich. This is the first sutra of Panini. Vriddhiradaich, vriddhihi at aich, which means a, I, and au. These 3 letters will be called as vriddhi in the Ashtadhyayi. Panini is declaring this. Vriddhi is a very technical name here. It does not mean growth. It does not have any meaning per se. It is a technical term. It is a technical term that refers to any of the 3 letters, a, I, and au. Vriddhi means a, I, au. Any of these 3 letters are going to be called as vriddhi within the Ashtadhyayi. So Panini declares that in one of his rules. This is one type of rule. This is one type of sutra. Another type of sutra is the Paribhasha Sutra, where Panini defines meta rules, rules about how his rules should be understood, how his rules should be read. These are the meta rules. They are called as Paribhasha Sutra. Another type of sutra is Adesha Sutra, where he gives directions or orders. Adesha, do this or do that, add this or subtract that. Adesha. There are 3 other types of rules, Atidesha, Niyama, and Adhikara, which is slightly more complicated, so I won't go into that. For now, let us look into this short sequence of 7 rules. I want to show you how this sequence works, just so that you can begin to appreciate the intellectual giant that Panini was. So you really get an idea of what it means to say that this text works like a computer program. What does it mean when you say that this text works like a computer program? We say this very often, that it functions like a computer program, but what does it mean? So I want to walk you through these sequence of rules so you understand what it exactly means. So the first sutra in this sequence, the very first sutra, Upadeshe Ajanunasika it. Okay. Upadeshe ach anunasika it. This is the first, I've just picked this up randomly from the 3rd adhyaya. The actual sutra sankhya, the number of the sutra is 1.3.2, which means that this is the 2nd sutra of the 3rd adhyaya of the, 3rd pada of the 1st adhyaya. But I've picked it randomly from in between, but it's fine. You can understand it completely without any problem. Upadeshe ach anunasika it. Okay. What this means is upadeshe, in an upadesha, okay, in an upadesha, anunasika ach is called as it. Okay. Anunasika ach is called as it. See, it is a very technical name here. A very technical name. What is it? We're defining what it is. Okay. Panini says that this technical name it will apply to every anunasika ach in an upadesha. See, Upadesha can either be a Prakriti or a Pratyaya. See, every word in Sanskrit language comprises of two parts, Prakriti and Pratyaya. Every word of the language can be broken into two parts, Prakriti and Pratyaya. Prakriti is further divided into two parts, Dhatu and Pratipadika, and Pratyaya may be of 5 types. Don't worry about the technical details. I'm just trying to convey an idea here. So it is a combination between Prakriti and Pratyaya. Between either of the 2 types of Prakriti, 5 types of Pratyaya, the combination that makes up the entire world of Sanskrit language. And Ashtadhyayi gives us the rules on how to combine the Prakriti and the Pratyaya. How to combine these two so that the words are formed. So Upadesha is either Prakriti or Pratyaya, one of the 2 parts of the word. If the Upadesha contains an Anunasika Ach, that is a nasal vowel, remember that Ach is a Pratyahara, first letter Akara, last letter Cha, everything that falls within the sequence, that is all the vowels. So when Panini says Ach, he means all the vowels. So when I say Anunasika Ach, Anunasika means it is nasal vowel. It is indicated by a Chandrabindu on top of it. Okay, so if an Upadesha contains a nasal vowel, we will call it as it. This is what Panini is saying. If there is a nasal vowel in an Upadesha, please call it as it. Okay, this is what he's saying. Don't get worried about the technical details. I just want to show you how the rules work. Okay. So the first rule says a nasal vowel in an Upadesha will be called it. That's all. A nasal vowel in an Upadesha will be called as it. Don't worry about what it means. It is a meaningless term. It does not have any meaning. It is just simply going to be named as it. Okay, I could be calling it per, whatever, but Pardon, we decided he'll call it as it, so it's going to be called as it. So it is going to be called as it. Second sutra, second rule is halantyam. Very short rule. What does it mean? Hal refers to consonants. We discussed again as a pratyahara. The first letter is ha, the last letter la. Everything that falls in between is what hal contains, and what it contains is all the consonants. Okay. So simply translated, this sutra, this rule reads simply the end consonants. Antyam means end. Hal means consonant, so end consonant. What am I to make out of this? It is not a complete sentence. The first rule was a complete sentence. It said that a nasal vowel in an Upadesha has to be called as it. It was a full sentence. The second rule simply says end consonant. It does not say anything more. So what you have to do, this is where the technique of recursion comes in. We have to complete this rule using the previous rule. So what I do is we fill in the blanks, we complete the sentence, the end consonant. The end consonant in an Upadesha will be called as it. The first rule said the nasal vowel in an Upadesha will be called it. But second time, Panini did not bother to actually complete the full sentence. He just said end consonant. He said you pick up the rest from the sutra that came before this. So you just pick up the whatever you need to complete the sentence. Because see, you have to understand that sutras are like formulas. They have to be very compact. They have to be as concise with as little, as few words, as few letters as possible. Okay, there's in fact a shloka which says that if a Vyakarana, if a grammarian manages to say what he wants to say in as few letters as possible, if he manages to even save half a matra, half a letter, it's equivalent to the birth of a boy for him, as in he's a father to a boy, if he became a father to a boy. But anyway, coming back to the sutra itself, the third rule, I don't want to bore you too much. I'll just give you a quick wrap this up after I show you this. The third rule, adir ni to davaha. Adi, ni, to, do. Okay, this is the third rule, the third sutra. Adi, ye, to, do. Again, this is not a complete sentence in itself. This is not a complete, it doesn't make complete sense unless and until I bring the words from a previous rule to fit into this rule. So what this will mean, what we completing the sentence using the previous rule. So if an upadesha contains the letter ye or the letter to or the letter do as its first letter, then these letters will be called as it. This is the condition. If these letters occupy the first position, the first letter of an upadesha, if it is ni, to, or do, these particular letters will be called it. Don't worry about, see, what we're doing is defining what it is. It is a technical name, and the rules are telling us how to work with it. So Panini continues. He gives a list of all the letters that will qualify to be called as it. Okay. Once he gives us the list of what qualifies as it, the last rule of the sequence comes in to tell us what we are to do after we are done labeling it. Tasya lopaha. The last sutra is tasya lopaha. Lopa means remove. Once you have labeled certain letters of an upadesha as it, simply remove them. Just take them out of the upadesha. This is what he's saying. First, he defines what is it. Then he tells tasya lopaha. Lopaha means removal. You just have to remove it. I'll just take an example of a dhatu to show you how the application of these rules work. Okay, so this is I'm taking a dhatu. It's a verbal root. Okay, this is a type of prakriti. Pach. Okay, pach. Pach is actually quite a famous dhatu. Okay, it means to cook. It's saha pachati. He's cooking. So it's the verbal root of cooking. Okay, so pach. But the original form of this root to cook is actually dupachash. I don't know if you can see the entire thing, as in below pach, the second line, it says dupachash pake. Dupachash is actually the raw material, the original form of the dhatu. Okay, the first line is pach. The second line, dupachash pake, in brackets, to cook. Okay, so this dupachash is what is the original dhatu. See, Panini has defined about 2,000 verbal roots. These are called as dhatus. These are from where the verbal action-oriented words stem from. Okay, so he's written a separate book for this. It's called as the Dhatu Patha. It is simply a list of about 2,000 dhatus in raw format, in unprocessed form, which is what this looks like. Dupachash. Here, the first letter is du. This upadesha also has a nasal vowel indicated by the chandra bindu on top. Last letter is a consonant. Let us apply the rules that we just studied. We have an upadesha with us. We will get to work on it using the rules that we just studied. The first rule is upadeshe ajanunasika it. A nasal vowel in an upadesha is called it. Nasal vowel here is the akara that follows cha. Pacha, dupachash, the akara that follows cha. The after cha is nasal. It's indicated by the chandra bindu that you can see. Okay, so this that follows cha is going to be simply called as it. We're just going to simply call it. We're just giving it a name. We're giving it a name. We're going to call it it. The next rule was halantyam. If the last letter of an upadesha is a consonant, that will also be called it. Here, the last letter, sha, it's a consonant. So we will call it as it. The last letter is a consonant. So using the rule halantyam, using that rule, we're going to apply that rule like a mathematical formula. We're going to call this last letter sha as it. The next rule was adir ni to davaha. If the first letter of an upadesha is ni, to, or do, it will be called it. Here we have Dupachash, du is the first letter. So according to this rule, adirni to davaha, the first letter du is now going to be called as it. We fast forward, we apply the rules one after another, like exactly how a computer program works. We look at the first sutra, we apply it. We go to the second sutra, we apply it. We go to the third, we see whether or not it's applicable. If it is not applicable, then jump forward. If it is applicable, then apply it and do the work. So at the end of it, you have do labeled as it, you have akara labeled as it, you have shakara labeled as it. Now, last sutra tells tasya lopaha. You have to remove whatever it is that you have labeled as it. Please remove them. So I remove do, I remove sha, I remove what I'm left with is pach. What I'm left with is pach. From dupachash, I came to pach using these rules that Panini has given. From dupachash, an unprocessed raw material, I came to pach, which is now going to be formed. I mean, using the same rules as in the other rules of the Ashtadhyayi, we understand how pach becomes pachati or pachate. So it doesn't become pachati, it becomes pachate. So how it becomes any of in different tenses, how exactly it comes to whatever form it acquires, everything is very scientific. Whatever the rules are defined in the Ashtadhyayi, you apply them and you will be able to create the words yourself. This is how the entire Sanskrit language is coded. It's the entire text works as a generative grammar, not simply describing it, but generating. It's like a machine, it's an algorithm. It's a machine that literally generates the word. So this is exactly how Panini's Ashtadhyayi works. I also wanted to, sort of discuss a little bit of Navyanaya and mathematical language, but I have not prepared a slide for that because this was entirely a very last minute undertaking. So maybe we could do it some other time, just to show you how the language is employed in different texts, in different scientific texts. I don't know if you find that interesting or not, but it sort of goes to show the genius of ancient Indian scientists, how they were able to use this language and do so much with it. I think the best way to also learn the language is through the Ashtadhyayi. Personally, I had not studied Sanskrit in school. I had not studied in college. My very first introduction to Sanskrit came from the Ashtadhyayi in a Gurukula in Bilaspur in Chhattisgarh with Mahamahopadhyaya, Dr. Pushpa Dikshit. She was my first guru. She was my first teacher. My very first introduction to Sanskrit came from the Ashtadhyayi. These rules were what I was first introduced to, and they were enough. They were enough. They gave me the strength to move forward. If I had not studied the Ashtadhyayi itself, I don't think I would have gone as far as I did in my studies, because I had no other introduction. I did not know Sanskrit at all. So I think it's interesting. It's intellectually challenging. It makes sure that you're committed to it full time. But I think it's worth it at the end of it. With this, I'd like to conclude my talk. So you are muted.
Sorry. How much time did you spend with Madam Dikshit?
I was here. I was with her for about a year. I stayed with her in her house. She runs this amazing Gurukula where she takes us.
I got her video. She is looking forward to government support, and she has mentioned quite a bit on that. And what I wish to understand, do you mean to say that you didn't study in school, you didn't study in college this language, and you stayed with her for 1 year, and within 1 year you picked up this entire thing?
Well, it's, I mean, that's not all. I then went to Hubli, then I went to Mattur. I mean, my journey continued. It did not end with her.
Okay.
But my first introduction to Sanskrit itself came from her. And with the Ashtadhyayi. Actually, Ashtadhyayi is a very difficult text. It's something that students I mean, nobody thinks of introducing a novice, an absolute beginner to the Ashtadhyayi. This is unheard of in tradition. But Mataji has come up with a very I mean, her contribution is very unique. She has come up with a different method of pedagogy where she is able to teach the Ashtadhyayi to even absolute beginners like myself. This is not done otherwise. It's not done anywhere else, really. But that was very helpful, is what I wanted to say. That a grounding in Vyakarana gave me the strength and the confidence to move forward, which otherwise I would not have the confidence to touch the other texts without my grounding in Vyakarana. Because I mean, it's difficult, especially if you don't know anything at all. Then
And we would conclude with I just wish to get final input from your side. If Sanskrit as a language is brought into now the new education policy 2020, right? So, what do you think? What would be the most appropriate approach or methodology or desirable that to get Sanskrit its place? One is that you have to get the place to a language because it lost its somewhere, and you have to get it back to that place. That is one way. Secondly, there is a utilization. That's why you have to get it. And third part is nothing can move in IT and nothing can move further into that without this language. So, what is your take on that?
honestly, what
Yeah.
I feel is the moment I don't think we should separate, as in teach it separately as Sanskrit. See, the thing is, Sanskrit is a language, it's a medium through which every textbook has been written, whether it's of science, whether it's of philosophy, whether it's literature. It's a language through which the texts are written. So instead of introducing it as a separate language, we're going to study Sanskrit. I think we should bring in the subjects within the subjects of whatever we're studying. If we're studying mathematics, then we must be, along with the mathematicians of today, we must be studying the Kerala mathematicians. We should be studying the mathematics that has been written in Sanskrit, alongside the mathematics that is being taught regularly, because that has a great addition value. The method, the way of, it's even if it's a simple,
What is that additional value?
uh,
That is my question. Mathematics I'm learning.
correct.
Mathematics is being taught. And the moment you say additional value, how will I quantify? How will I display that?
uh, I think it's very important to understand that the approach of Indian mathematicians is very different from modern mathematics.
Okay.
You arrive at the same conclusion, you arrive at the same answers, but how you arrive at it is very, very different. And for me, it has instead, see, formulas might not give you an entire overview of what you're doing. You're learning the formulas, you're applying it to particular problems, you're passing the text, as in you're passing your exams, depending on whatever your textbook syllabus has prescribed for you. But you're not getting a complete idea of what you're doing with the see. If you're talking about an abstract value like pi, why am I dealing with this abstract idea of pi? It does not make sense while I'm just, I mean, I might be working with it. I might be solving I may be solving equations. I might be doing all of that. But do I really know what pi is? When the moment you're introduced to mathematics within a Sanskrit context, they will give you a complete overview. What does infinity mean? What does the symbol mean? Why are we dealing with it? All of these things are sort of introduced because the approach is different. It gives you a real sense of what you're doing when you're doing mathematics also. This approach was also what intrigued someone like Manjul Bhargav as well. When he was doing the Pingala Mata, he was working with the permutation combinations in Pingala Matas, the work of Pingala Acharya. He knew all the formulas, of course, but the approach to the same questions, the how they came to the answers was very different, which is what opened new doors, new ways of thinking, which is what I think will be important. So instead of learning Sanskrit as a separate as a separate language, as only a language, I think the material that has been written in Sanskrit should be introduced into regular classes, into regular teaching, the regular disciplines. If I'm studying chemistry, why not also include a Rasayana Shastra? Why do I not know of any chemists of ancient India? Why do I not know of Nagarjuna? Why can't that be brought into a class of chemistry? When I'm learning chemistry, why can't I also be learning what the ancient Indian contribution was, instead of making it as a separate thing outside of regular studies? I think it should be brought within it and assimilated in a way that it's there throughout, because it's not something separate. This is.
Thank you. I think that point is well taken. So very kind of you for your valuable time. Final take. Nowadays, all the youngsters are having a mobile phone. Everybody is with the mobile phone. If I want to learn this language at my own, what is the best way and what is the quickest way? Because you have increased my curiosity now, and in our day-to-day hustle bustle, whatever is going on, all that is there. If I want to learn this language, then is it through? Should I listen more and more of Sanskrit? Should I listen more and more shlokas? What would be the best way? That is the final take I'm taking from your side.
Honestly, myself, I'm not very familiar with the different apps that might be related to Sanskrit.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is Sanskrit Bharati is running the 10-day conversational camps. Yes.
Sanskrit Bharati.
Yes. So what they do is teach you to speak in Sanskrit in just 10 days.
Okay.
It's a sort of challenge that they take up. They tell you that by the end of 10 days, you will be able to speak day to day, very minimalistic, basic language, communication. Hello, how are you? I'm so and so.
Okay.
These things, minimal things. In 10 days, the moment you start talking in Sanskrit, I think your interest becomes more strong, your commitment becomes more strong, and also you get fellow travelers, you get good fellow learners. I mean, you have a group with whom to converse with and sort of interact with in Sanskrit, and that can be taken forward. So I think a very first basic a very good introduction to Sanskrit is through Sanskrit Bharati. They are doing phenomenal work across the entire world, actually, conducting these camps. That's a
Sanskrit Bharati. Sanskrit Bharati. And how many hours per day? Any idea for those 10 days?
2 hours per day.
2 hours per day. Okay.
So it's really, I mean, it's a perfect introduction. You could take it forward from there is what I think.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for your most valuable time at such a short notice. We pray to Almighty for your wonderful life and your journey ahead. You're doing a great job. You're doing a wonderful job. And we send you all our blessings. Thank you very much. Look forward meeting you sometime in near future and picking up and learning something more from you.